Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, so let's just dive in. And let's start off with this tweet here from Zach Rector 7. He is quoting Monica Long's response to Ripple X Dev. And when do you see leveraging the same blockchain technology that powers the XRP ledger, low cost, high TPS energy efficiency and reliability? The CBDC private ledger is built for payments. And we do see Monica Long actually responding to this. First off, she talks about tokenization and how there's 5,400 plus issue tokens on the XRP ledger. But then she goes in depth on CBDCs, and she says CBDCs will live on new private ledgers that run parallel to the XRP ledger, using XRP as a bridge to interoperate with other currencies. No more walled gardens. And this plays perfectly into the video that they actually have posted on Ripple's website. When you go to central bank digital currencies, they actually say that XRP will become the bridge currency for all CBDCs. And that's also their vision, right? If you actually look up David Schwartz, he mentioned this as well. They want to position XRP as that bridge currency between all central bank digital currencies. That's also why I've said, like, the value behind XRP is truly invaluable. Like, you can't really put a value on XRP. It's priceless. It truly is. Like, the use case potential here for XRP, and even just, a lot of cryptocurrencies within the space that have utility, they truly are limitless in terms of the overall value that they could derive. Now, also with CBDCs, I've talked about my concerns with them. I'm not pro CBDCs. I don't like them, but if they are coming, well, guess what? We might as well be a part of the journey, and we might as well invest in things that are going to allow CBDCs to become a reality, or at least, things that will help them become efficient. But I will also say we don't know exactly how CBDCs will look and how they will work. So we can't say for 100% certainty that they are these, sinister things, but there's a lot of concerns around them. There's also a lot of warning signs around them. So I'm not pro CBDCs at all. But listen closely to this video here. Mr. Man, XRP posted it. When you see a digital SDR, confirmation from the BIS. Listen closely.
Mine is some uncertainty about the liquidity provision function in the system, especially during the time of crisis. So if the global or regional safety net can provide a liquidity provision function to the existing system, it can help the system as well as alleviating the so-called stigma impact of traditional safety nets, such as IMF program, for example. What I have in mind is some kind of digital version of IMF SDR, which can be programmed in advance so that they can actually provide liquidity automatically when the crisis happens. If the recipient are eligible with a certain criteria, that can provide the liquidity as well as reducing the stigma impact that the traditional IMF program has. So all these kind of things, and the actually many criteria that Ravi mentioned and President Lagarde mentioned will be trying to incorporate in our next pilot.
And now I will say with digital SDR, a lot of people have tied this back to XRP. For example, at one point in time, there was a discussion around how XRP would be an ESDR, and I just don't believe that is going to be the case. I've actually shared this image. So this is the coming reset of the international monetary system, and this is an idea, a theory, if you will, around how things will work, especially with crypto assets and stuff like that. And here's the gold realities and gold myths. They do talk a little bit about that, but this is basically the breakdown here. Where you have gold at the top of the food chain, if you will, SDR at the center point, and then CBDCs here. Now, how will this work fully? Well, gold will basically be back in the system like we originally had planned. The SDR will be parked at the center. This will be defined as an equal to a specified weight in gold. Now, again, an ESDR could play perfectly into this as well. It doesn't have to be one or the other, but it could be, whatever, right? And then tier 2. This is where CBDCs come into place. Now, these CBDCs will most likely be issued out on private ledger technology. Now, remember, it's not just the XRP ledger in terms of a private ledger technology. You also have R3. There's also Hyperledger. There's so many, right? We've talked about a lot of them. But the XRP ledger, a private XRP ledger would be perfect for this scenario, simply because if CBDCs were issued out on private XRP ledger technology, well, then guess what? You would have the use case potential of utilizing XRP as a bridge currency. You'd have on-demand liquidity, and there's so many incredible opportunities there that we could talk about all day long. But for the most part, this is how this system will work. You'll have SDRs, or you'll have CBDCs, the SDR, and then gold at the top, and then you'll have XRP positioned as a bridge currency, which I think would make the most sense, especially if we are talking about instant settlement or settlement between any two currencies in terms of atomic settlements. So this would be, in my opinion, the best theory behind this new system. But it seems as though Fox is getting very in-depth on this idea now. I think that so far what we've seen around a lot of these major updates within the current financial system, I think that all of them are kind of pinpointing to what's happening. So now we are starting to see mainstream media really pick up on it and tell us about the things happening now. But we do see, oh no, the yuan is not going to be the new world reserve currency. It's going to be a non-dollar based system. And listen closely to this.
First of all, do you see this as a serious threat? Do you think we could look at a future where the United States dollar is not the world's reserve currency?
I do. Not only a serious threat, I think it is inevitable. We went through 3 stages, as you said, after World War II. The U.S. was the biggest economy in the world. In the 1970s, global banking became basically dollar-centric. With the fall of the Soviet Union, the entire world more or less came under the domination of the U.S. dollar. That is now drifting away. The China and the Russia are starting to build an alternative block of currencies.
So the question, John, becomes how viable is their alternative? How many countries, how many transactions, how much market share could, for example, if it becomes the Chinese yuan, take from the U.S. dollar? I've talked to others who said the answer to that question will be a tipping point, and they believe the tipping point would be Saudi Arabia and what they choose to do when it comes to oil transactions. What is your perspective?
Well, the Saudis want to diversify their portfolio, so to speak. They don't know who's going to win the contest for the world. And so they do want to make sure that they have some exposure to China and some exposure to the United States. I don't think in the long run that the yuan is actually a threat, that it is ever going to become the dominant currency of the world, because the Chinese communist system is not open enough. The U.S. system is very open. Other countries can trust that our reserve currency, that we're not manipulating it. We allow free foreign exchange. We try to keep inflation very low. We haven't done a good job of that in the last couple of years, but we have a 40-year track record of keeping inflation low, and we're now doing it again. That gives the world a lot more security than China can. And so I don't think China is going to become the dominant currency. And I think Europe and I think our closest allies in Japan will remain on the dollar.
Now, I do want to just stop it there because obviously this is 4 minutes long. I don't want to play the whole video, but for the most part, yeah, I don't think the idea of the U.S. becoming the reserve currency continuously on in time because we can keep track of inflation and there's no manipulation at all. Like, I think that those points are a little flawed. I think that we have manipulated the system quite a bit, especially in the U.S. I think that the main reason why we have inflation is because we took for advantage the fact that the U.S. dollar was the reserve currency. I think that we will see a new system rising. Again, I think that the new system will be CBDCs. I don't think that there will be a reserve currency. I think that these nations will have their own CBDC, and the way that they will have to transact is, well, they'll have to have a bridge currency at the center point. But also, we've seen another response to what's happening around the world, especially with the move away from the US dollar from Fox. It seems like they've been going crazy on reporting on this, which is crazy because we haven't seen mainstream media starting to report on these major moves until now.
Today, Brazil, in our hemisphere, largest country in the Western Hemisphere south of us, cut a trade deal with China. They're going to, from now on, do trade in their own currencies, get right around the dollar. They're creating a secondary economy in the world, totally independent of the United States. We won't have to talk about sanctions in 5 years because there'll be so many countries transacting in currencies other than the dollar that we won't have the ability to sanction them.
And this is pretty much the truth. Like, we are starting to see a major pushback against the US dollar, but we're also starting to see new currencies rise. I mean, we are in a currency war right now where, you know, everyone's trying to figure out what's going to be the new reserve currency. I just say that there's not going to be. When we talk about reserve currencies and stuff like that, I think what we will see is a system like this, where you don't have a reserve currency. I don't think that there's going to be a reserve currency. If anything, the reserve currency and what everything will be valued at will be probably centered back to gold. I mean, it works the best. The only issue with the gold backed system was that there wasn't enough gold, right? But with that, when you break this down and you have gold become fractionalized, and guess what I said around tokenization, you could actually fractionalize gold investments. When we have gold revalued and then you have fractionalization tied to it, guess what? The gold backed system becomes a possibility again. And then when you have CBDCs that are tied back to, every single nation, and you have a decentralized system, if you will, that's not tied to one nation, well, guess what? The entire world of finance becomes enlightened because you're not reliant on just one nation, and everything will be fully transparent. I do think that this system itself will work the best. Now, as we do look at a few things, the ECB is moving pretty quick on things around the digital euro. We do see it will be decided in October. This is a 5-minute long video. I'm not going to play this one, but I will play this one that's a minute and 30 seconds long. And she's basically talking about the digital euro. She's talking about digital currencies. She even does mention Circle and Ripple. Listen closely.
Certainly see potential for CBDC. Digital currency is what I'm referring to. I tell you what we are seeing, and it changes so fast in a matter of 1 year. You know, the crypto assets at large have lost about 85% of their value in a matter of 1 year. What we are seeing at the moment is what Carlos was referring to, which is, you know, development into new technologies that will actually change the way in which intermediation is conducted, eliminate some of the barriers, including the unconscious biases that exists out there. And you know, I think in the banking system at large in many countries, the difference will not be between those who are disrupted and those who survive, but it will be between those who are cannibalized because they are not seeing it coming and they're not embracing it, and those who self-induce that cannibalization. And I'm using cannibalization on purpose because it's a bit of a striking, horrible word, but it's really what it means. It's you're going to disrupt your business model, you're going to change it, you're going to reduce your cost, you're going to expedite your transactions, and you're going to continue to inspire confidence because you will build that on the basis of an existing backbone, which is your bank and the confidence relationship that you've established with your customers. So that's where I see changes happening now. If you think of Circle and Ripples and all those, that's where they are active and helpful.
And yes, she does know about Ripple. In fact, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Christine Lagarde and Brad Garlinghouse, here's a major meeting. And by the way, these are all extremely high tier individuals as well. But yes, you know, the digital euro is on its way. CBDCs are on their way. Even the US is getting ready for their CBDC. And just recently, by the way, Tranglo made a huge step into Europe. And this is with coverage from On-Demand Liquidity. I want you guys to understand that things are happening right now. We are seeing the evolution of finance and currencies before our eyes. I do think that this year is going to be pivotal for CBDCs and the overall reset of the monetary system. I am very concerned about CBDCs. I don't like CBDCs, but if we are going to get them, why not get at least wealthy off of them? And a lot of people always ask me, like, if you're going to get wealthy off of investing into the intricate parts around the system, what are you going to be selling into? What's going to be tied to that value? Well, you're going to maintain your value by holding these assets, but also remember, you could take whatever you hold and sell it into gold. You could sell it into, you know, other valued assets. But again, I always look at some of these assets like XRP as like I have a bag of XRP that I will never touch. I will never touch it because I think long term, when you look at some of these assets, when you look at what's happening around our monetary system, you know, if the vision comes true around XRP and XDC and XLM and HBAR, etc., well, guess what? You really can't put a value on these. We value all of these tokens at a market cap, and we value them back to the US dollar. But the thing is that, what if we don't do that? What if we look at XRP as 1 XRP equals 1 XRP, or 1 XDC equals 1 XDC? See, we tie it back to fiat currency, but ultimately speaking, what if there was no fiat currency? What if cryptocurrencies were the only thing? I always look at it like that, because I think that we kind of get caught up in the idea of like, all right, well, I want to get fiat rich off of investing into cryptocurrencies. That's just like, it's crazy to me, because we have the possibility of transacting with XRP. We have the possibility of buying things with XRP. So why not just hold XRP? I understand that, volatility, the price swings, stuff like that. But the thing is that long term, I do think that fiat currency will cease to exist. And I think that cryptocurrencies will be around forever. I think that they are inevitable, right? But with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, because definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on for more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are in this world. That's been Nick. Peace out, guys.